A lawn care company quoted my neighbor $200 a year to keep his grass dark green. He signed the contract. The guys came out quarterly. They sprayed. They applied granules. They handed him a little door hanger explaining what they'd done. And his lawn looked fine. Not great. Fine. Then one afternoon he was at the farm supply store picking up something for his garden. And he started reading labels. And he found the same active ingredients. The exact same compounds the lawn company was applying. Sitting on the shelf in larger quantities for a fraction of what he was paying. He canceled the contract that week. Now, I'm not here to tell you lawn care companies are a scam. Some of them do excellent work. Some people genuinely don't want to think about this stuff, and paying someone to handle it is completely reasonable. But if you've ever looked at your grass and wondered why it doesn't look as good as your neighbor's, or your neighbor's lawn services results, when you're clearly mowing, watering, and even fertilizing, the answer usually isn't that you need to spend more money. The answer is usually that you're missing a few things nobody ever told you about. Today, I'm going to walk you through 5 of them. Some are products, some are tools. One of them is a decision, and it's arguably the most important one on this list. All 5 are available in farm stores, hardware stores, or even grocery stores. And the 5th one, the one that surprises nearly everyone, is used regularly on professional sports fields. Let's go through them. Before we get into the list, I want to spend 60 seconds on something that most lawn content completely skips over, because it reframes everything that comes after. Most homeowners think they're growing grass. They're not. They're managing an underground ecosystem. Beneath every lawn, yours, mine, your neighbor's live billions of bacteria, fungi, nematodes, and microorganisms. This isn't poetic language. A single teaspoon of healthy lawn soil can contain more microorganisms than there are people on Earth. Those microbes do work that no fertilizer bag can replicate on its own. They break down organic matter. They convert nutrients into forms. Grass roots can actually absorb. They build soil structure. They suppress certain diseases. When a lawn looks thin, yellow, or patchy, and fertilizer doesn't fix it, the problem is almost always below the surface. The 5 things I'm about to show you address that. Some feed the ecosystem. Some open it up. Some make everything else you're already doing work better. Let's start. The first one is in your grocery store right now. Molasses. Blackstrap molasses, to be specific. Not fertilizer. Not weed killer. Not a complicated soil amendment with a 12-word chemical name. Molasses. Here's why it works. Those billions of soil microbes I just mentioned, they need carbon to thrive. Carbon is their food source, their energy, the thing that lets them do the work that feeds your grass. Modern lawns, especially ones in suburban neighborhoods, often have depleted carbon levels. Years of bagging clippings instead of mulching them back. Years of chemical applications that kill not just pests, but beneficial organisms. Years of compaction from foot traffic and mowing. Molasses is one of the most concentrated, inexpensive sources of simple carbon you can apply to soil. When you water it into your lawn, the microbial population surges. Those microbes then begin processing nutrients that were already present in your soil, but locked in a form roots couldn't access. Grass gets greener, soil structure improves, and here's the part that surprises people. Blackstrap molasses, the unsulfured kind, which is important, costs roughly $3 to $5 a bottle at any grocery store. You dilute 1 to 2 tablespoons per gallon of water and apply it with a garden hose and sprayer or a watering can. 1 bottle treats roughly 1,000 square feet. You apply it in spring when soil temperatures warm up, and again in fall before dormancy. That's it. Is it the most dramatic single result on this list? No, but it's the foundation. You're not just feeding grass. You're building the system that feeds grass. Soil that's rich in microbial activity makes every other thing you do more effective. Think of molasses as feeding the workers that feed your lawn. Number 2 is one most homeowners have never heard of, but golf course superintendents have. Sports turf managers have. Sod farm operators have. It's called humic acid. And it might be the most quietly effective product in professional turf management. Here's the problem it solves. When you apply fertilizer, whether it's granules or liquid, you're adding nutrients to the soil. But here's what the fertilizer bag doesn't tell you. A significant percentage of those nutrients don't stay there. Rain washes nitrogen out of the root zone before roots can absorb it. Certain soil types, clay soils and sandy soils especially, don't hold nutrients efficiently. You apply fertilizer, it rains 3 days later, and you've essentially paid to fertilize the street. Humic acid improves what soil scientists call cation exchange capacity, the soil's ability to hold onto positively charged nutrients like calcium, magnesium, and potassium. It works by increasing the number of binding sites in the soil where those nutrients can attach and wait for roots to find them. The result? The fertilizer you're already applying works better. More of it stays in the root zone. More of it gets absorbed. You need less of it over time. Humic acid also loosens clay soils. It helps sandy soils retain water. It stimulates root development. And it feeds those same beneficial microbes we talked about with molasses. You can find it in many farm stores and garden centers, usually as a liquid concentrate. A quart bottle typically runs $15 to $30 and covers a large area when diluted. Some formulas combine humic acid with kelp extract or amino acids, which add additional benefits. Those aren't gimmicks, they're legitimate additions. But plain humic acid alone is worth having. Apply it in spring when you're putting down your first fertilizer application of the year. Apply it again in fall. You won't see a dramatic overnight result. What you'll see over the course of a season is grass that holds its color longer, responds better to fertilizer, and recovers faster from heat and drought stress. It doesn't make your lawn green. It makes your lawn capable of being green and staying green. Tool number 3, core aerator. Number 3 is a tool, and it solves a problem most lawns have but most homeowners never think about: compaction. Every time you walk across your lawn, you're compressing the soil slightly. Every rainfall compresses it. Every mowing pass, every dog sprint, every summer of use. Over years, this builds up. Soil particles pack together. The pore spaces, the tiny air gaps that roots need to breathe, that water needs to drain through, that the microbes we've been talking about need to survive. Close up. The result is a lawn that looks fine on the surface, but is slowly suffocating below it. Roots can't go deep because the soil won't let them. Shallow roots mean drought vulnerability, thin grass, and bare spots that weeds move into immediately. A core aerator solves this. The machine, which you can rent from any equipment rental company for roughly $60 to $90 a day, or buy a plug-in tow-behind version for around $300, drives hollow tines into the soil and pulls out small plugs. Thousands of them across your entire lawn. Those holes do several things at once. Oxygen reaches deep roots. Water penetrates instead of running off. The plugs left on the surface break down over 2 to 3 weeks and return organic matter to the soil. And most importantly, if you follow aeration with overseeding, the seeds fall directly into those holes and have near-perfect soil contact. Germination rates go up dramatically. Many turf professionals consider core aeration more important than fertilizer. Let that sink in. More important than fertilizer. Because fertilizer applied to compacted soil is largely wasted. It sits at the surface. Water carries it away. Roots can't reach it even if it stays. Loosen the soil first. Then feed it. The best time to aerate cool season grasses, fescue, Kentucky bluegrass, ryegrass, is early fall, late August through September. The grass is still growing, and the timing lines up with overseeding season. For warm season grasses, Bermuda zoysia St. Augustine, late spring into early summer, when the grass is actively growing, is ideal. You don't need to do this every year. Every 2 to 3 years for most lawns is sufficient. But the first time you do it on a lawn that's never been aerated, the difference is visible within a few weeks. Number 4 is a fertilizer, but not the kind you're used to seeing. Walk into most garden centers and the fertilizer aisle looks like a product catalog. Bags with names, branded graphics, promises about deep roots and maximum green. Prices that add up fast over a season. Now walk into a farm supply store. The same aisle looks very different. You'll find fertilizers labeled by their chemical names in larger quantities, at prices that often represent a fraction of what retail garden centers charge for the same active ingredients. One of the most useful is ammonium sulfate. It's a nitrogen fertilizer, and nitrogen, as most lawn owners know, is the primary driver of green color and leaf growth. But ammonium sulfate has something a lot of premium lawn fertilizers don't. It also contains sulfur. Sulfur matters because it plays a role in lowering soil pH slightly, which can improve the availability of iron and other micronutrients in alkaline soil. A significant portion of American lawns, particularly in the Midwest and West, where water tends to be alkaline, have soil that runs slightly too high in pH for optimal grass growth. Iron gets locked up in alkaline soil. Grass turns yellow even when nitrogen is adequate. The lawn looks like it's struggling with a nutrient deficiency because it is. But adding more of that nutrient doesn't help if the soil chemistry won't release it. Ammonium sulfate can nudge soil toward a better pH range while simultaneously delivering nitrogen. The results are often visible within 5 to 7 days. Grass greens up quickly. But here's the rule you cannot skip. Water it in immediately after application, within 30 minutes if possible. Ammonium sulfate is a salt-based fertilizer. On dry grass, the nitrogen can draw moisture out of the leaf tissue, a process called fertilizer burn, and leave yellow or brown streaks. It looks terrible, and it takes weeks to grow out. Apply it on a day when rain is forecasted, or water your lawn immediately after applying it. Either way works. Skip that step and you'll have a problem. With that rule followed, ammonium sulfate is one of the most cost-effective ways to deliver visible results to a lawn. A 50-pound bag from a farm supply store, enough to cover most residential lawns, typically costs $15 to $25. Compare that to branded lawn fertilizer bags offering similar nitrogen rates at 2 to 3 times the price for the same square footage coverage. The nitrogen doesn't know what color the bag is. And now we reach number 5. This is the one that surprises almost everyone who hears it. It's not a fertilizer. It's not a spray. It's not a soil amendment or a microbe booster or a professional grade tool. It's a decision. A soil test. And here's why it's 5th on this list instead of 1st. Because I wanted you to understand all the things that can help a lawn before I told you that most. People don't need all of them at the same time. And the only way to know which ones you actually need is to test your soil. Think about what typically happens when a lawn starts looking thin or yellow or patchy. Most homeowners do one of 2 things. They either do nothing and hope it gets better with the next rain, or they go to a garden center and buy something, usually fertilizer, sometimes iron, sometimes a product with the word boost or green in the name, sometimes multiple things at once, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, and they never really know why. Here's what most people don't realize. Applying a nutrient a lawn doesn't need doesn't just waste money. It can actively cause problems. Too much phosphorus locks out zinc and iron. Too much potassium can interfere with magnesium uptake. Adding lime to soil that's already at a good pH raises it too far and creates the same nutrient lockout problems you were trying to fix. I've talked to homeowners who spent years adding iron because their grass looked pale and yellow, only to discover through a soil test that iron levels were already fine. The real issue was high soil pH, which prevented the grass from using the iron already present. They were buying the right product for the wrong problem. A basic soil test reveals pH, nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, and often other nutrients. It removes the guesswork. Most extension services offer tests for around $10-20, and some states provide them free. You send a small soil sample and receive results with recommendations within a couple of weeks. The test tells you whether your pH needs adjustment, whether you're actually deficient in key nutrients, and whether unusual issues like high sodium or micronutrient imbalances are affecting your lawn. This is what separates people who spend money from people who get results. Great lawns usually come from solving the right problem, not buying more products. So here's the protocol. Get a soil test if you haven't done one in the last 3 years. While waiting for results, apply molasses as soil temperatures begin to rise. Once results arrive, correct pH if necessary. Add humic acid with your first fertilizer application. If your lawn hasn't been aerated in years, schedule core aeration and overseed thin areas. When buying fertilizer, compare nitrogen content per dollar and consider ammonium sulfate if your soil test supports it. Most of these steps are inexpensive, and together they improve what's happening beneath the grass instead of simply making the surface look greener. Remember, great lawns aren't about spending more money. They're about understanding the soil. When you reduce compaction, support microbes, retain nutrients, and know exactly what your soil needs, the grass responds. Not because you spent more, but because you finally gave it what it was missing. If this was helpful, share it with someone struggling with their lawn. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.